My mother leaned close over my birthday cake, her voice a hushed murmur. "You're envious of your brother?" I shot back sharp and final. "Then let him cover your expenses," and promptly canceled every utility payment and rent transfer I'd been managing. I'm Matthew, 35, living alone in a tranquil corner of Boulder, Colorado. I work at a modest tech firm, not a glamorous gig, but it keeps my bills paid, and until yesterday, my parents too. Here's the raw truth. No one prepares you for what it means to be the dependable one in a family. People don't truly value you. They lean on you like a wrench they pull out when something's broken. You're never the favorite. You're the emergency contact, the one expected to foot the bill, the one they overlook until a crisis hits. For me, it began gradually. First, I covered a phone bill. Then I paid a few months' rent so Mom could afford her meds. Soon I was co-signing loans and troubleshooting their Wi-Fi from my apartment, all while juggling a full-time job. But this birthday dinner was supposed to be special. I hadn't seen them in months. I brought a bottle of wine, a gift for Mom, even cleaned up nice to fit whatever family is supposed to look like. My younger brother, Timothy, was already there, as always. He's chronically late on rent, drifts through part-time jobs, yet somehow stars in every family photo. Dad brags about him at church, and there, parked in the driveway, was a shiny new hybrid SUV, a gift from them to Timothy. "You live too far to visit for holidays," Timothy smirked as I walked in. "Guess you'll be alone again." I stayed quiet, biding my time. I sat through the awkward dinner chatter, through the fact that no one acknowledged the Christmas cards I'd sent. I waited until Dad raised his glass, toasting Timothy for always showing up. Then he handed me my gift, a pair of cheap rolled-up wool socks. "They're insulated," he said. "For biking to work, right?" It wasn't the socks that stung. It was what they symbolized. I cover half their mortgage. I pay their phone bills. Once, at 3 a.m. from a hotel bathroom on a work trip, I sent money because Mom said their heater broke and they were shivering. Yet I'm still invisible to them. So I smiled, left the house, and made a call. The next day, their power went out. That's when things really started. 13 hours after the blackout, the calls began. Mom, Dad, then Timothy. Voicemails piled up, including a grainy video of their kitchen lit by candles, like some eerie ceremony. I didn't answer. They didn't know, never even asked. The electricity, gas, and water had been in my name since 2020, when Dad lost his job and Timothy moved back home temporarily. I stepped in to help. Months became years, and no one questioned when I'd stop, until I did. Once the utility company confirmed the shutoffs, I leaned back in my chair, cracked open a soda, and watched the messages pour in. "You should have warned us. Your mother's freezing, Matthew. Are you really mad over socks?" That last one was Timothy, with a laughing emoji. I saved a screenshot to remember the tone. Then a group chat notification pinged. Mom added me to Family First. Mom, "Can we talk like grown-ups?" Dad, "You've made your point." Timothy, "Dude, grow up." I replied, "You're right. This isn't love, it's survival." Then I left the chat for good. Let's be clear. This wasn't just about socks or the SUV. Those were just the final straw. The real damage had been piling up for years. In 2021, I cleared Timothy's $4,200 gambling debt. He swore it was a one-off. Later, I learned he spent some of it on concert tickets. I replaced Dad's laptop after he ruined it with whiskey. He didn't thank me, just griped it wasn't a Mac. I paid $7,800 for Mom's dental work, only to hear her tell her church group she'd saved up for it herself. When I was jobless for 2 months during company cuts, no one called to check on me. I didn't speak up then. I kept paying, kept sending money, telling myself it was temporary, that they were just struggling. But now they sat in a cold, dark house, confused and hungry, and I did nothing. 2 days after the blackout, a Facebook post clarified everything. Timothy shared a photo of him and Dad beaming beside the new SUV, captioned, "Still here, still family, some people just hold grudges." I didn't just screenshot it, I saved the whole post. This wasn't ignorance, it was deliberate. It was war. So I dug deeper. It didn't take long. Dad, who always preached responsibility, had been siphoning money from a joint account I'd set up for their online bill payments. Small amounts, $60, $110, but over time it added up to $4,850. I found out because he accidentally sent $750 from that account to a car parts shop in Timothy's name the same week he claimed they were barely scraping by. I kept digging. A month earlier, I'd asked my cousin Patricia, who works in cybersecurity, to do a favor. I said it was for a side project. She owed me, so she ran a discreet check for anything odd tied to my identity over the past year. She found 2 red flags, an attempt to open a credit card with my social security number and a request to change the billing address on their home internet. The request had Dad's handwriting. The backup contact was Mom's number. I wasn't angry anymore. I was surgical. If they wanted to play dirty, I'd play precise. I built a digital folder called What Family Took. Inside were screenshots of Timothy's snarky posts, Dad's discreet money requests, voicemails of Mom saying, "You're doing better than your brother, you can afford it." I included photos of the birthday dinner, my chair conspicuously empty. I emailed it to myself, blind copied 3 trusted friends, saved it on a USB, and backed it up to the cloud. I wasn't ready to share it, not yet. First, I wanted them to feel the weight. When the gas was cut off and the landlord refused to fix the broken heater without full payment, they were out of moves. They called again. This time I answered. Dad's voice was strained, overly calm. "Matthew, maybe we all went too far." I stayed silent. He pressed, "It's been a tough winter. Your brother's struggling?" "He's trying." I replied, "Great. Then he can pay your bills this month." Silence. Then, "What do you want from us?" My voice was steady. "Nothing. You treated me like a backup plan. I'm treating you like an afterthought." I hung up. That night, I started a blog. My brother got a car, I got socks. Tagline: How to set boundaries when love becomes a balance sheet. It wasn't revenge, it was liberation. And they hadn't seen the rest. At exactly 6 p.m. on Mom's birthday, I showed up unannounced. No lavish gift, just a cheap bottle of wine and a plain envelope. They probably thought I was gone for good, but I wasn't there to reconcile. I was there to finish it on my terms, to show them what losing me really meant. Dad opened the door, looking like he'd been served legal papers. "Why are you here?" he asked, flat. I smiled. "Came to celebrate Mom, or was that party just for the real family?" He stepped aside, rigid, no warmth. The room was full. Mom, Timothy, even Cousin Karen, who always found my embarrassment amusing as long as it wasn't hers. The table was set, decorations up, everything polished on the surface. I placed the envelope in the center. Timothy eyed it suspiciously. "What's that supposed to be?" "Some things I found," I said calmly. "Thought we should all see." Inside were 3 items. A credit card application in my name, approved 2 months ago, with a signature that wasn't mine. A $1,550 phone receipt, shipped to Timothy's address, charged to my card, and a printed email from Mom's account, left open on my iPad last Christmas saying, "Matt always handles it. He won't notice." Dad grabbed the envelope, hands trembling, muttering about mistakes. "Really?" I said. "Every mistake just happens to benefit you?" Mom stood. "We were struggling. You always helped. What changed?" I met her gaze. I stopped pretending this was a family. I slid another paper across the table, a bank app screenshot from a former co-worker showing $750 wired to an auto shop under Timothy's name, taken from my account. Timothy paled. "I thought it was your spare card," he stammered. "I was going to pay it back." "Before or after the PlayStation?" I asked. He went quiet. Mom sank into her chair. Dad stared at the table, fists tight, like he still had control. He didn't. I held up my phone. "Recognize this number?" It was Mom's. I played a voicemail, her posing as me, calling my insurance to change my address, add prescriptions, and list Timothy as a dependent. I looked at her. Thought I wouldn't notice? She shook her head, silent. Then I turned to Dad. "Still want to claim you never touched that account?" He didn't answer. Timothy snapped. "This is insane! You're destroying everything over a few bills and a phone." "No," I said. "I'm doing this because you've treated me like a resource for years. You lied, you took what wasn't yours, and now you're mad I caught you." I pulled out one final page, not a bank statement, just a handwritten list I'd found on their kitchen counter. Title: How to Shift Costs to Matt. Bullet point 3. Put bills in his name. He won't notice. The room froze. Timothy stormed to the balcony. Mom buried her face in her hands. Dad stared at the wall like he hoped it would swallow him. Then he asked, voice low, "Are you trying to destroy this family?" I stepped closer, voice steady. "You did that first. Lie by lie, bill by bill. I'm just giving it back all at once." I walked to the door, paused with my hand on the knob. "Oh, and keep the socks, Dad. You'll need them when the next bills hit." Then I left. I didn't go home, not to my apartment. I drove, no destination, just the road and the kind of silence that comes when something inside you finally shatters. I ended up at a cheap motel 2 towns over. The lights flickered, the air smelled of bleach, but it felt cleaner than what I'd left behind. By morning, my phone was flooded, 36 missed calls, 12 voicemails, 3 blocked contacts, and 1 text from Timothy. "This isn't over." He was right. It wasn't. 3 days later, things unraveled further. Mom emailed asking if I'd reported her to credit agencies. Her card was frozen. I didn't reply. That night, my old landlord called. Someone posing as me had inquired about my old lease but hung up when asked for ID. Sloppy, desperate. It was time for the next move. A month earlier, I'd started untangling myself from any financial or legal ties to my family, not thinking I'd follow through. But that weekend, I did it all. I called the bank, closed every shared account, shut off the backup account Dad used for unpaid bills, and canceled auto-pay on their internet and utilities again. I contacted my accountant. I had a small trust, some bonds, modest investments from when I thought I'd retire someday. My family were listed as beneficiaries. Not anymore. Every cent now goes to a charity fund. Cancer research, disaster relief, student aid, strangers who never betrayed me. It felt right. They'd squandered my trust, so strangers would get my support instead. The fallout came gradually. 2 weeks after the birthday, a pharmacy friend called uneasy. "Matt, did you cancel your mom's insurance?" "No," I said. "I just stopped paying for hers. She'll need to get her own." The bigger mess came when their landlord called. "Matt, your name's still on their lease." Not anymore. Within 48 hours, I filed paperwork to remove myself and sent him records of their income, missed rent, and unpaid bills for 3 months. He was shocked. "They said you were just helping out of generosity." I laughed. "No." They acted like I had no choice. 3 days later, cousin Karen messaged me on Facebook, not mocking me this time. She sent a screenshot of a group chat I wasn't in. Timothy posted a photo of his SUV saying, "Selling this week, need cash, DM me." Someone replied, "Thought your brother paid for everything." Karen commented, "Looks like Matt's bank is closed." I didn't respond, just watched them turn on each other. The hardest hit was a voicemail from Dad at 2:13 a.m., voice slurred. "Matt, you think you're some hero now? Think you can walk away like the good guy?" Then the truth slipped out. "You were supposed to stay broken." That was their plan. I wasn't their son. I was a tool, useful only if I stayed silent and paid. But I was free now, untouchable. A month later, I moved. Not just to a new place, to a new city. No forwarded address, no family updates. My new apartment was leased under a different name, utilities and internet set up through a privacy service. I wasn't hiding. I was shielding myself. I got a second phone. The old one stays off in a drawer, a tomb for numbers that only called when they needed something. For closure, I sent one last message, a handwritten letter, no return address, mailed to their house. Inside was the lease cancellation and a sticky note with 5 words. "Find a new fallback plan." I didn't sign it. They'd know. Weeks passed, then months. The silence wasn't heavy. It was calm. No sudden crises, no guilt-laced birthday texts begging for grocery money, no fake check-in voicemails. Just me, my new job, my space, my peace. True peace drowns out revenge. 6 months later, I realized something no therapist or self-help book explains. Real closure isn't soft. It's not hugs or apologies. It's not a warm chat over coffee. Closure is jagged, like gripping shattered glass, admitting it was never whole to begin with. They still try to reach me sometimes. Not Mom, not directly, she's too proud. But I see the signs. A high school friend forwarded a Facebook post, a blurry photo of their dark living room, captioned, "Sad when those you raised forget who helped them." Timothy liked it, commenting, "Some people only show up when the lights work." I almost laughed. As far as I know, their power's still off. They think I'll cave first, that I'm still the guy who drove 3 hours to deliver Dad's blood pressure meds. Meds he'd later mocked, saying stress was for weaklings. They expect a message, maybe a "hope you're okay" to test the waters. But I'm not parched anymore. I've rebuilt. My new place has bright walls, rich wood floors. My bookshelf holds only stories I choose. There's a cozy cafe nearby. The barista knows my name but not my past. My fridge is stocked, my bills are mine, and when my phone rings, it's only people I've let in. I don't miss being the safety net. They didn't just lose me. They lost the assumption I'd always clean up their messes. Now they face their own chaos, and it's getting messy. My aunt, who used to laugh when Dad called me a failure for not growing up, called recently. "I didn't know it was this bad, Matt. You could have said something." I hung up. She knew, they all did, but laughing was easier than intervening. The last I heard from Dad was a 3-page letter, sloppy blue ink, preaching family loyalty, legacy, and everyone makes mistakes. I skimmed it, tore it up, mailed the pieces back, 1 per envelope, no return address. He sent a shorter, angrier note, "You'll regret this. You're still my son." I replied with 1 bold sentence. "I was never your son, just your resource." Silence, since. Last week I got a new phone number. No one who treated me like an ATM got it. I didn't post about it, didn't make a scene, I just cut them out like clutter I didn't need. But I left one small marker for me. My new welcome mat is plain gray. Black letters, not your backup plan. That's the real end. Not with shouting or tearful resolutions, but with quiet. Not the peace of fixing things, but the peace of walking so far away nothing can follow. Healing isn't always mending what's broken. Sometimes it's bolting the door and never looking back.